It'll be okay. We are a work in progress, not perfection. Right, sizzle baby. Okay, you can sit right here by mom. Good boy. You sit. Okay, the gang is all here. We are all here. All right. We are recording. Life is good. Whoa. All right. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee with Katie. I should probably grab my coffee. Welcome back to our second week of recording, episode number 4. If you haven't listened to the first 3 episodes, that's okay. They are all live on the YouTube channel, and we are very excited to keep on rolling with production. Happy February. Happy Olympic week. Today is Sunday when I'm recording this, and I just was watching team figure skating, and earlier this morning I watched a clip. I wasn't awake, but I watched it on Instagram afterwards, like an old person, and I saw the Lindsey Vonn crash. So that was kind of sad to see because she tore her ACL earlier this week and she still decided to compete. Obviously, you're at the freaking Olympics. Like, you're going to try to do everything you possibly can to compete because you've been training all year for this. But it just is so sad to see an athlete get injured and then, like, meta-flighted off the course. That was pretty scary. So, wishing all the best to Lindsey Vonn and her recovery. But it's just so much fun to watch the Olympics. I think it kind of crept up on me. Like, I didn't even realize that the Olympics were going to be on this weekend. Like 2 weeks ago, I had completely forgot about the Olympics even happening. So really kind of fun. And for me, like growing up as a kid, we watched the summer and the winter Olympics quite a lot. And I can remember one summer, it was the Summer Olympics. Maybe they were in Beijing, or I don't honestly remember, but it was the year that Michael Phelps won like 12 bazillion gold medals or something crazy. And I don't know if it was the year that like Shawn Johnson and all of those ladies were on the gymnastics team, but I can remember the time change was so incredible. And as a kid, the concept of a time change and being halfway around the world and watching something that's live just was such a crazy thing to me. But I can remember being awake at midnight watching gymnastics and swimming and listening to Bob Costas talk about what happened that day and what's coming up for the next events and things like that. The Olympics are such a fun, nostalgic event. And as an athlete and someone who really love sports and someone who can like really get a feel for how hard these people work to be such incredible athletes, it's honestly just, it's so incredible to watch. Some of these downhill skiers and snowboarders, whatever they were this morning, the one guy was 45 and the guy he was skiing against was 37 or 35. So just kind of incredible to see that they're at such a great spot in their career and they're at the freaking Olympics at an advanced age, we'll call it, because in some sports people are like aged up by the time they're 25. So anyways, really loving watching the Olympics. It's been just so much fun, and it's only the second or third day of coverage, and I think it goes all this week and maybe finishes up next week. I could be totally wrong on that, but either way, loving watching figure skating, ice skating, speed skating. There is somebody from Wisconsin that is competing as a speed skater. And I think there's maybe a hockey player or two that is from Wisconsin originally. So really, really fun. But it's just been awesome to watch the Olympics. And I'm excited to, watch Team USA. So go team. So this week, I wanted to point out some of my favorite things that I've been loving. One thing that I've really been loving, and I don't probably talk too much about it, but in my coffee, I always try to have protein before coffee. Unless I'm going straight to the gym, I don't eat protein before I drink my coffee. I have like a fruit bar, like a fruit, that's it fruit bar, which is, 100% real fruit dehydrated into a chewable bar. Anyways, I'll have that and my coffee and my water on the way to the gym. And that's what I do. But if I'm not going to the gym, or it's like the weekend, or if I am going to the gym later, whatever it might be, when I wake up, I try to have my coffee after I've eaten something with protein in it. And lately I've been loving this banana bread protein bread that I've been making. So essentially I buy a bunch of bananas, like a bunch from Quick Trip. I let them get brown and ripen on my countertop for 5 to 6 days, whatever it might be. And then I make like a traditional banana bread recipe, but instead of using like real flour or brown sugar or whatever the recipe calls for, I basically swap it out for the same volume of either Kodiak cake, protein pancake mix, or Premier Protein makes a like protein pancake waffle mix, whatever. It's just powdered flour and sugar essentially by these two brands. But I take that protein aspect, dry materials, mix the banana with like 2 eggs, a cup of Greek yogurt, and cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, whatever. You could put vanilla and maple syrup in it as well. And I just mix it all up in my KitchenAid. I put it in these muffin tins. I got silicone muffin tins. So it's not really even a tin. But I got these silicone muffin pan, I guess we'll call it, forms. And anyways, I bake the muffins, pop them out, and they are absolutely incredible. I'll heat up 2 in the morning for like 1 minute in the microwave. And it's enough protein that it helps me feel full for a little while. Like, especially the mornings that I coach at the CrossFit gym, I'll have them on my drive to the gym. And then I feel pretty satiated until I'm done coaching at 8 o'clock. So I'll eat them at like 4:30. And by 8 o'clock, I'm definitely hungry, but I'm not like starving. So I've really been loving that. I also made it in a loaf form this week because I had a lot of bananas last week. So I made protein banana bread and then the banana bread muffins. And the banana bread I've been eating the last couple of mornings, just like I've sliced it and then I just heat it up with a little bit of butter and have it with my coffee, or I try to eat most of it before I drink my coffee. But those are some things that I've been loving. Really easy way to get protein in. Also a great use of bananas. Super simple to make, like you literally cannot screw it up. And it comes out great every single time. So I highly recommend this banana bread recipe. If you're not a banana bread fan, you can definitely spruce it up. You could probably do like chocolate zucchini bread with the protein mix. You could probably do some sort of like pumpkin loaf if that's your vibe. You could definitely do like a lemon loaf if you love that. But it's really just a great way. Simple. I don't have to think about it. Put 2 in the microwave, warm them up, eat them, coffee, life is good. I do eat like a regular breakfast when I come back home from the gym, the mornings that I do work out, which has been eggs, these chicken sausages or patties. I literally buy them at Walmart. And either bread or like a tortilla. So I try to have a really good high protein with some fat and plenty of carbs breakfast to get me through the morning. Because for me, my actual job is driving around and doing sales. So I don't pack a full-blown lunch because 1, I can't heat it up. 2, I don't want to eat that big and heavy of a meal because then I just feel tired and then I'm not as productive feeling. So I don't like having a really heavy meal when I'm on the road, and I just basically graze on snacks and like chopsticks and protein bars and fruit, some nuts, things like that. So I try to eat a really bulky, heavy breakfast. I wouldn't call it heavy, but like a dense breakfast, because I know that the rest of my day kind of depends on how much I get in the morning. So that's something that I've really been loving, is the banana bread protein muffins or loaf. And then also I think it's Applegate chicken sausage. And it's like a maple applewood something. They're incredible. Really good ingredients. It's like, non-GMO, whatever chicken, which, fun fact, no chicken is ever raised with antibiotics. If you give a chicken antibiotics, you cannot slaughter it. Fun fact. Also, a new product that I'm trying. So my chiropractor, we go to like I would call it a very holistic chiropractor in the town next door. And she's amazing. She just had her first baby. We've been going to her for almost a year, and she's been practicing for over 5 years. But she is an incredible chiropractor, just brought a second doc into the office. But she was talking to me last week about parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which is essentially the two sides of your brain and your body working together. And for me, and really anybody who lives like a fairly stressful life, your parasympathetic nervous system is kind of always like on fire, because it's like the fight or flight mode of your nervous system is constantly turned on. So your body can't tell the difference between a bear chasing you and somebody calling you, essentially. But there's a lot more that goes into it. That's like a very simple explanation for what your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system is. But my chiropractor was talking to me about vibration plates. And I asked her if it was legit, because I had my sister-in-law ask me about vibration plates and if it was worth it. I've seen TikTokers and Instagram influencers like staying on their vibration plates in their, content. And I'm like, is it worth it? Does it make a freaking difference? I'm very skeptical about it, but she had a lot of great points as to why a vibration plate would be helpful for both my husband and myself, the benefits of it. I actually have a really good friend and colleague who he swears by his vibration plate. He stands on it every day for 10 minutes. He'll either stand on it, he'll plank on it, he'll like sit in a squat. There's a lot of different like exercises that you can do while on a vibration plate, because according to the research that I've done, it essentially stimulates your body like 10 times of what you were actually doing. So for example, you could stand on your vibration. Technical difficulties. You could stand on your vibration plate for, let's say, 10 minutes, and it would simulate a 5 or 6 mile run, something of that capacity. Like it's an incredible impact for a short amount of time. Helps with lymphatic drainage, inflammation, things of that nature. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to have zero inflammation in their body, because inflammation is also a sign that your body is working properly and is like processing things and is moving things along, like your lymphatic system is doing its job. So I'm not saying that inflammation is a bad thing, but there are some people who probably don't get rid of inflammation well enough or very well at all. And maybe a vibration plate would be helpful. Here's the thing. I told my sister-in-law this, and I will preach this until my dying breath. You cannot buy supplements and gadgets and gear to replace effort. What I mean is, like, yeah, you can buy protein pancake mix, But that doesn't make up for you like never eating chicken or beef or fish. Like you can't just wholly replace protein with protein bars and protein powders and protein shakes and protein popcorn. Like that doesn't balance the equation. You still have to eat well. The same thing goes for like this vibration plate. Like, yeah, I could stand on this vibration plate for 10 minutes, but the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of the day, I shouldn't just be sitting on my butt. Obviously, part of that is sleeping. But if you are only sitting on a vibration plate for 10 minutes, like you aren't going to reap the benefits and you aren't going to get this like toned and muscular body just from a freaking vibration plate. So I told my sister-in-law this, and I will preach this until my dying breath. I think that mastering the basics is first and foremost your priority when you're on your health journey, and recognizing that everyone's kind of on a different, mile marker in their health journey. For someone like me, I've been very active my entire life, and I've been especially tuned into my body the last 13, 14 years, basically since 2013. And I was taking it very, very seriously for a solid like 5-year stint where I was like tracking everything I was eating. My sleep was like top tier. I was working out 2 times a day, 4 days a week, getting body work done once a week or every other week. Like I was doing all the things at one point in my life. And I was also doing the basics well. So eating enough, drinking enough, sleeping enough, trying to move my body, outside of the gym, inside of the gym. So I'm here to say that a vibration plate sounds great. A greens powder sounds great. But if you never eat a vegetable and you only drink greens, like a greens powder, I'm here to say like that is not going to fix your problems. You've got to grow up and like get good at the boring shit. So that's why I was really skeptical to get the vibration plate. I don't want to be like that girl who tells everybody no and then does it and loves it and then tells everyone they have to get this, because I don't want to be that girl. But I'm willing to try it if it's going to help my parasympathetic nervous system, because sidebar, do not ever put your daughters on birth control because it will fuck them up. It'll fuck them up. Teach them how to track their cycle, teach them how to read their cervical mucus and to track their body temperature. Like do all of that stuff before you ever put them on a synthetic hormone, because it'll fuck them up for a lifetime. So the reason I say this is I definitely struggled with a lot since being on and then getting off birth control. And I've been off of birth control for the better part of 3 years. So, but I'm still trying to fix problems that were caused by said synthetic hormones. So anyways, I really hope that this vibration plate helps me just like regulate some things to get feeling better in certain areas of my life. I would say most days are like a 6 out of 10, like feeling pretty good, but there are some points in the day where I'm like, I feel like trash. And I also think it depends on what part of my cycle I'm in, how stressed I am, and a few other minor details. But I'm going to try the vibration plate and see how it goes. And if it sucks, then I wasted my money. And if it's great, I'll tell everybody about it. So that's kind of my thoughts on vibration plates and health gadgets. Okay, so this next segment in the podcast is something that I'm going to steal from a podcast that I watch called Two Parents and a Pod. And they do this segment. It's a husband and wife, or they're not married, but they basically are. They have 2 kids. It's this section that they call Bicker of the Week. And although I'm solo on this podcast, my husband and we have our fair share of bickers of the weeks. And one thing that I thought about today when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about on the podcast was our bicker of the week, or something that we bicker about from time to time. And the one thing that we bicker about kind of is vehicles. And here's what I'm saying. So I drive for work. I basically live in my car 4 days a week. Like from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., I'm in my car. We're driving the countryside. I eat in my car. I drink in my car. Short of curling my hair and changing my clothes, I do everything else in my car. I do a lot in my car. And sometimes my car gets a little dirty on the inside. Now, I have a car wash membership, so I run through the car wash like every other day probably, because it's also winter in the Midwest, so there's salt up the ass on the roads and up the ass on your car. So I go through the car wash, keep the outside looking great. The inside could definitely use a little TLC sometimes. But our bicker of the week is just around vehicle buying. And I came from a family where my parents bought a vehicle and they drove it into the ground. And it never left the premises. Like I was telling Tyler, my mom and dad bought a farm truck when my brother was born in 1994. And that truck is still on the farm. It doesn't move anymore, but it is there. And God forbid they needed a truck to fire up one day. They probably could get her started and they'd get her functioning and moving again. But my family was not the one to like lease a vehicle and trade up and like trade in and, level up every 2 years or something like that. It just wasn't what we did. And to be honest, I don't know if it was a financial decision or just, I have no idea. Not a clue. But my husband and his family live to buy vehicles. They were put on this earth to drive every car dealership in the nation, to look at every vehicle online, and to do all the research on every kind of vehicle. And that is what they love. I could care less. So my husband is going through this process of trying to find a pickup for the farm that he can use for everything. So like he can pull a trailer with it. He can put a plow on it. He could get in his shit clothes, like check all of the boxes for a farm truck, but also be kind of nice. And his dilemma is whether or not he trades in his nice pickup truck that we use for good, I will call it. And if you're not from a farm, you won't understand maybe the everyday and the good category. But essentially, an everyday truck or an everyday set of clothes is something that you could wear every single day out to the barn. And if it got dirty or wrecked, it's fine because it's your everyday clothes. It's your everyday truck. But your good truck and your good clothes are things like you wear to church, you wear to school. You would wear if you went out to dinner. Those are your good clothes, your good shoes, good truck. So Tyler, my husband, is having this internal dilemma of, do I trade in my good truck for a farm truck? Because we have my Jeep, which is always good. I never get in it in farm clothes or anything like that. The dogs get in it, but they're not getting it dirty. And he's having this like internal dilemma of, what do I do? And he wants my opinion in the worst way. I just don't have one for him. I can't tell him like, yes, I love that truck that you found on the lot. Let's trade in this one for that one. And then we can do this, and this. Like, my brain doesn't work like that. So he finds it frustrating because I'm not giving him any feedback. I'm like, dude, you handle our finances. You make all the big decisions in our life on that aspect of things. Like, if it pencils out and it makes you happy, go fucking do it. I don't care. Like, I really don't. So that's my bicker of the week with my husband, who is absent from the podcast, but I told you his side of the story. Other things happening in the group chat this week. We might get another dog. So, we have 3 dogs. Our oldest will be 16 in March, so next month. And then we have a mini Aussie. He'll be 4? 5. He'll be 5. Oh my goodness. He'll be 5 in May. He was born in 2021. So yeah, he will be 5 because it's 2026. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. So he'll be 5. And then our Cavalier, which was our wedding present, was born August 2023. So this year he'll be 3. So we have a 16, a 5, basically, and a 3-year-old. And the thing about our 16-year-old is he's basically a cat. He's sleeping all day. He doesn't need a ton of exercise. It's also his least favorite season right now. So he's kind of like hibernating because he doesn't like to be cold. He hates the snow and it's not hot enough for him to bake in the sun. We don't really ever see the sun, to be honest, either. So that also is kind of a struggle of his. But we have been talking about getting a 4th dog, which, saying it out loud, sounds absolutely ridiculous. But here's the thing. Like I said, our oldest is basically a cat. So we really only have 2.5 dogs. And so then we would have like 3.5 dogs. The breed we want and the dog we're looking at is a small dog. So it would be about the same size as Sizzle, who is a King Charles Cavalier. So in that like 10 to 15 pound range. Still can exercise and take long walks, but they don't require like a ton of activity and stimulation. Our Aussie probably could use more exercise than what we give him, but he does just fine. And to be honest, in this like next season of our life, he's going to get tons of outside time. He can work and run and play, and like his life is going to be great, which is very exciting. So anyways, we're thinking about getting a 4th dog, and the reasoning behind it, I don't know if this is a solid reason or I don't really give a shit, but my husband is like buying all this stuff for this farm business that he's getting into, and I'm like, what do I get? And not that I'm asking for anything, but I'm like, you're buying a truck, you're buying a tractor and a Ranger and a 4-wheeler and cattle and all this and that. Like, can I get a dog? Because I do 100% of the dog stuff now, and the house stuff and the laundry stuff, and like that's already on my plate. If I want to add another dog, I'm not adding any chores to your life. I'm adding chores to my life. So like, can I just get a dog? Do I have to ask you for permission, or can I just do it? So that's kind of fun. TBD on the timeline of all that sort of stuff, but that could be coming down the pike. So then there might be 4 dogs and a Katie in this room in not so far future. But anyways, that's all I've got today on today's episode of Coffee with Katie. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and like, subscribe, leave a comment if you're feeling frisky, and check back every Sunday night or Monday morning for the next episode drop. With that, y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next week on Coffee with Katie.